welcome tonight to our May 28th meeting. It's our regular board meeting of the Richland 2 Board of Trustees. We're entering the end of our year here, and lots are going on, as you will see tonight, with recognitions. We've had lots of recognitions in the last few meetings, and we continue that tonight. So we went into executive session at 5:30, and before that we had a real nice appreciation dinner for our administrators, and we wanted to recognize them, and we were so grateful for the things they do to us. And like I said, they're a few inches shorter and a lot more gray hair since the first I saw them the first of the year, but they're surviving. They made it, most of them. Yeah, all those administrators that are here, would you please stand up and recognize you again one more time? Okay, this time we'll have our inspirational moment, a moment of silence, and Pledge of Allegiance. Would you please stand? Unfortunately, as a district family, tragedy has struck us again over the last week, and we want to lift those families up that really suffered the ultimate price and are in such sadness. And it's a sadness for our district too. A lot of people know them through different ways. I know them through a granddaughter who dances with the daughter. I mean, I don't know the family that well, but I do know them through that. So lots of us have connections. And by the grace of God, it could be any one of us. Let's bow our heads and have a moment of silence. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of our current agenda.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second. Vote, please. Thank you. Unanimous. And now we have our consent agenda, which we need to approve, and it has minutes. I believe they were amended. Mr. Manning, I believe we amended them for you.
Yes,
okay.
Thank you.
Facilities report, technology report, budget update, student readmission request, ratification of personnel. Do I hear a motion?
So moved to get it on the floor.
Second that.
Any discussion?
Question on, Mr. Carter, I didn't get a chance to call you, but on those change orders, I saw where it really didn't balance itself out, but it was a lot of design change orders on there. Is that something that they just overlooked, or what happened there?
Originally, the items where we had taken out something at the beginning of the project to save money, and then some of it had to be put back in. The biggest one on there was that. It was where we had taken the scuppers out on the roof, and it didn't work out, so we had to go back in and put them back in. A couple of them are design misses. One of them is actually, I was trying to get back to my email. Hang on one second. I can't get back to it for some reason, but
There were 7 design changes.
yes.
And then there were 1, 2,
Like
3,
not the B.
4, 5 value engineering, which saved us some money.
Value engineering are the ones we'd agreed on early in the project. If you go down to the The last one, the $16,000 value engineering, that was one where we had taken it out, we saved money, but it just didn't work, so they had to redesign it and put it back in. We still saved some money. Part of the building it worked on, part of it didn't. And as we said, we've had some engineering challenges on this one. And we are keeping a running track of all design changes based on engineering misses. We've got a running tally.
Can you give me a call at your convenience and tell me about the engineering challenges that we've had on this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, one more question. When do we typically get our 10-year facility study?
We normally put that in the capital improvements request for the year, and we didn't do one this year, but we would be scheduled to do another one next year.
Is there a reason why we skipped this year?
Just basically didn't think we needed one to pay for another one this year when we had a pretty good plan through the end of the 10-year, into the 5-year funded plan.
I think it had a lot to do with pushing a proposed bond referendum back.
Right.
Since we
wanna be
pushed the
closer.
referendum out, we knew we had 19 funded. We know we have 20 funded. So
I guess usually we looked at that to kind of see where there are changing trends in the district, where we're going, and I just thought it was unusual we didn't get a report, even if it was just to say there are no substantial changes from the last one, and just thought maybe we had missed that this year.
I guess it was the best way to say it was a conscious decision that Bob and I and even Fred discussed. That didn't seem to be a need to do one, to pay for one this year to tell us what we already kind of knew.
Thank you.
But we are scheduled for an update next year.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Call for the vote.
Jill, mine didn't come up, but the answer is yes. Yay.
Okay, good. That passes unanimously. Now is our time for special recognitions. Dr. Brochu?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. At this time, I'm going to call on Ken Blackstone, our Executive Director for Communications and Strategic Partnerships, to introduce our special recognitions at this time.
I'm being assisted by Laura Baker with the certificates. Mr. Chairman, Madam Vice Chair, members of the board, Dr. Brochu, and staff, tonight we have several individuals and schools to recognize, and as I call folks forward, I would like to tell you a little bit about each of our honorees. First, we will be recognizing the Nelson Elementary School Academy for Civic Engagement, the ACE Magnet Program, for being named the SC Bar Law-Related Education Elementary School of the Year.
I was out.
Congratulations go to lead teacher Dawn Smith and principal Karen Beeman, who are up front, and I understand that this is the first time an elementary school has won the award. It previously was only given to middle schools. So congratulations to you all as leaders and to you students.
Sure.
And while they're taking the photo, I want to say congratulations also to ACE teacher Susan Bryan, and this is her 5th grade class, for winning the state showcase for Project Citizen in the middle school division. So there were 2 separate awards actually, but the students who are all listed on the screen over here to my left presented their winning proposal, Be Safe at the Hive in the Traffic Line. And they presented to many key decision makers, including district and school administrators, a school board member, parents, and also students. So while this is the first time ACE has won School of the Year, ACE 5th graders have won the state showcase 4 other times, I understand, and won the national showcase in 2009. So congratulations again. Next, I'd like to recognize Ridgeview High School's DECA team, members Jasmine Goodwin and Christina Green, for receiving the National Award of Excellence. The girls received the award at the DECA International Career Development Conference earlier this month. They received a total score of 70 or better on the comprehensive exam and interview to receive this distinction. Their advisor is Ms. Pat Jackson, and Assistant Principal Sydney Johnson is also coming forward. Congratulations. Next, we'll recognize Spring Valley High School math students who won first place in the 10th annual Clemson University Calculus Challenge. And listed on the screen are the names of the 6 math whizzes from the school's AP Calculus AB and AP Calculus BC classes and math team. This is the 4th year the school has taken Division 3 honors at this competition. And Dr. Baron Davis, principal, is coming forward, and the team's advisor is Matt Owens.
All right.
Next, Westwood High School sophomore Kayla Berwick, it might be Kyla Berwick, I'm sorry, Kyla Berwick, won first place in the state-level National History Day contest. After months of intensive research and success at regional level competition, Miss Berwick won the top prize at the state-level National History Day contest. She has been invited to present her winning research paper, In Vitro Fertilization, A Turning Point in Making Babies, at the annual Kenneth E. Baring National History Day contest next month in Washington, D.C. Ralph, introduce your advisor, please.
This is Ashley Ostelmeyer.
Okay, oh, you know what? We have a special award for her right next, okay? Very good. Well, stay there because we can also, Westwood High School can also claim another History Day contest winner this spring as Berwick's teacher, Ashley Ospelmeyer. Following a separate nomination and selection process, Miss Ospelmeyer took the top prize this year as the state's senior level National History Day Patricia Baring Teacher of the Year. She too will compete at the national level in June, and congratulations to you all, the Westwood Redhawks. Next to be recognized is Blythewood Academy's principal, Perry Mills. And Mr. Mills will receive the Outstanding Contributions in Education Award from the South Carolina Association of School Psychologists. He received it at the Association's Summer Institute. He will receive it at the Summer Institute next month. He was nominated for valuing different perspectives, having a passion for working with at-risk students, and leading by example. Congratulations. And finally, Round Top Elementary School has been named a National School of Character for its commitment to character education and fostering a positive environment for social and academic learning. The school will share its secrets to success in October at the National Forum on Character Education in Washington, D.C. Congratulations to Principal Janine Tucker, and she is going to be joined up front by School Counselor Will Moody, and name your other guest as well. I was just going to say, I know that many of your faculty and staff are here, and I'm going to ask you to please stand to be recognized where you are.
Wait, he's trying to get a picture of you guys. Oh.
Well, let's have another round of applause for the students and staff that were recognized tonight. And their families, of course. Now, Mr. Chairman, at this time I would like to call on Ms. Sue Millette, our Chief Academic Officer, to introduce our student focus.
Thank you, Mr. Blackstone. Well, you've already met the first group from Nelson Elementary, the ACE students there. I'd like to introduce now Karen Beeman, principal of Nelson, who is going to further present the students, and Dawn Smith. Thank you.
Good evening. Mr. Chair and Honorable Board of Trustees, I stand before you this evening as a very proud principal of Lonnie B. Nelson Elementary, and I'm here to introduce to you some of our very fine students, Miss Susan Bryan's 5th grade ACE classroom. And ACE is our Academy for Civic Engagement at Lonnie B, and this is Miss Dawn Smith, our fabulous lead teacher. But our students have worked very, very hard this year to prepare for their Project Citizen presentation, Be Safe at the Hive in the Traffic Line. They were phenomenal, hiding in bushes, counting cars as they drove by, collecting all of this data, and then coming up with a fabulous plan for us to hopefully implement at Lonnie B. Nelson. So, and our students, but we are just proud to have them represent us as the 2013 Project Citizen State Championship title, and of course for our law-related elementary school of the year. So very proud of our boys and girls, and at this time I'd like to have them come on up for their presentation, and we hope you enjoy.
We collected data through our observations of the car rider line in the mornings and afternoons.
We also sent out surveys to parents, students, and teachers who monitored the car rider line.
Looking at all responses and observations, we found that there are many violations in our school car rider line. And many parents are frustrated with people who don't follow the procedures that are in place and have been given out.
We emailed schools in the district to see what their car rider procedures were.
We read through survey comments to find out what parents, students, and teachers had to say about how we could improve our procedures.
We then decided on 5 possible policies that we thought would be the best solutions to our problem. Redesign the parking lot, add a second traffic director on campus, add stop signs in the parking lot, have safety patrol members inform drivers of violations, and require hanging name tags in car windows.
The policies were presented to the class, and the class voted on what they thought was the best solution, which was to add a second traffic director on campus to help move cars along and to notify those who violate a procedure.
We looked through the Constitution to make sure our proposed policy was legal and would not interfere with anyone's rights.
We also thought through who would support our policy and who would not support our policy and how we could get those on board.
We investigated who we would need to talk to and what we would need to do in order to get our policy of having a second traffic director on a campus in place.
We also made signs that we held outside that encouraged drivers to follow our procedures. Example, follow the blue line and be safe, your kids are watching.
We also asked Bee Safety Patrol members to redistribute our car rider procedures so everyone would be reminded.
So because of all the problems we saw and because of all the complaints we received from parents and students, we believe that there needs to be a permanent on-campus traffic director to keep all drivers following procedures and to help things run more smoothly.
Through this project, we used math as we calculated percentages from observations, reading as we read through survey responses and emails, writing as we wrote the essays for our groups and speeches for our presentation, research skills as we took observations, collected data, and found out what other schools do their car rider procedures, and presentation and speaking skills as we practiced for and then presented our project to the Project Citizen Judging Panel.
Through the Project Citizen process, we learned many different things, like the difference between public policy and community service, what it takes to make a change, how to work with others, and compromise when needed, how to write formally, how to examine situations from different sides, and how to speak in front of a large audience.
In the future, we can take what we learned from the Project Citizen process to bring about other changes in homes, schools, and communities. Going through this process will also help us work better with other people and be more comfortable with public speaking. Project Citizen taught us so many things that we value, that will be valuable as we continue on in education and in life. And we are thankful that we had the opportunity to participate in this program. In the traffic line.
Thank you so much. What a great report.
Chair, I want to say that was a great project. I have never been more in fear of my life than going through some of the carpool lines in the morning. Parents get to be rough. So thank you for that study.
Mr. Chair, I certainly hope that we don't let it stop there either. I heard the students mention in their report that they, in fact, researched who should be contacted. I certainly hope that that will be followed through. I'm sure Mr. Carter was taking feverish notes over there as he heard the report. So, very well done.
Thank you. He's either doing that or ducking. I don't know which. He knew he was going to be called. Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Okay, this time our next item on the agenda is public participation. Anyone sign up? No one signed up, but we have time. If anyone would like to address the board this time about a district issue or issue on their heart, I'll give you this time to do it. Do I see any hands going up? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to the next item, which is our voting on executive session items, which is student appeals. Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that student number 1 go back to their home school with strict probation and community service. That student number 2 go back to their home school with strict probation with community service.
Isn't that through the first semester?
That's correct. The first of the
semester.
The first semester. Yes. Student number 3 and student number 4 go to Blythewood Academy. Student number 5 refer to Anna Boyd. Student number 6, Anna Boyd with Loradac. Student number 7 deny the appeal.
Second.
Second by Ms. Anderson. Any discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. When Jill's ready with the motion. There it is. Thank you. That's unanimous. Passes unanimously. Okay, our next is old business action requested. Revisions to policy GCC, GDC, employee personal leaves and absences. And the draft is before you. I don't believe it's changed from last time. Okay, Dr. Washington, would you explain the changes? Or sure. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We included on the proposed revisions, we've removed a line about adoption of a preschool child, age child, and the number of days of sick leave paid sick leave that could be used for that. We've also got some changes in various sections regarding notice per Ms. Anderson's request. That's actually on page 3. Got some cosmetic changes throughout the policy with references to e-leave, which is now MyHR, is our system for documenting absences. And then finally on page 5, we've added some additional relationships for consideration for the 3 days bereavement leave, those family relationships for your consideration.
I had a question on there. I didn't think we had put in, when I mentioned the step sisters and step parents, but it's inserted if the person was living in the home or was claimed on for tax purposes. That was not something that I thought we put in there. Where did that come from?
That was in there originally.
I missed that. So you took that out?
We just moved the section. I understood that second paragraph under bereavement leave.
Somehow I missed that because step parents aren't always. I guess you would handle that on a case-by-case situation and not allow this policy to be the determining factor. How would that work? Because if there's a step parent, step brother, step sister, stepchild, just because they're not living in the home or not carried on their taxes, would you handle that on a case-by-case situation? So if they had to travel out of town, step families could be just as close as biological.
My response to that would be I did analyze the reporting or request for bereavement leave, and if there were any requests for step relatives, maybe 1 or 2, I think most people just report them as a daughter or parent, etc. So I think at the employee level they're not making a distinction, so no questions have come to us about that.
Okay, fine, thank you.
One other question that I had, Ms. Anderson, you made the request for extended family in the bereavement section, but as I was reading through this, is that something we want to add into the personal leave for sickness, illness in the immediate family, is the same language we had under bereavement?
Yeah, I guess it should be, wouldn't it?
Is that possible? I mean, is that violating any family leave?
Understand your question.
So under the staff personal leave absences, I believe it's on page 3. It talks about the primary reason for the use of sick leave will be the personal illness of the individual employee or illness in the immediate family, which includes spouse, children, and parents. I was thinking maybe we should extend the same language that we use for the extended family under bereavement to that section of the policy.
Which section is that?
It's on top of page 2, Bill. End of page 1, top of page 2. It's the last paragraph on page 1. You see what I'm talking about?
The primary reason for the use of sick leave will be the personal illness of the individual employee or illness in the immediate family, which includes spouse, children, and parents. And in this case, what you're asking for is to expand immediate family to be consistent with what we added to the bereavement section.
Well, this is consistent with the Family Medical Leave Act, isn't it?
Well, that's why I asked if that was legal for us to do that under Family Medical Leave.
Well, and in this case, we're talking about paid leave, which is what the Department of Labor does not regulate as the use of paid leave.
Right. So we could do that.
Yes, yes.
So, I mean, it's up to the board, but my recommendation is we would make those the same.
I will not support unless I know what the cost is going to be. For all of this, really. I don't
Say that again, Bill?
What the cost is going to be. There has to be a cost to adding more people for paid leave, bereavement, or whatever it is. It has to be a cost. Nobody's asked that.
Right.
Do you care? I mean, I do.
I care about the cost, but at the same time, I think that Ms. Anderson brought up a good point. We have people who are.
I understand that. We got a very generous leave. I'm telling you.
Okay.
I mean, so I'm not saying we're bad guys if we don't change this. Okay. That's my personal feeling.
Dr. Fleming, you asked us to check that, and it was quite a tedious process to check it, but we bore down and checked that, and these are approximate numbers.
Yeah, I know you can't. There's no way to.
By adding what we're being asked to add to the policy would be approximately $132,000.
And that's just for bereavement?
Yes. That is not even taking in consideration the subs that would be called in for those people when they're out.
And that assumption is that the employees would use. Right now, our employees are doing a pretty good job. They can take 3, and that is increased up to 6 under unusual circumstances. Right now, our employees are only taking 3.9 days per death in the family. So there aren't many special circumstances. Assuming that 132,000 assumes that trend continues, the maximum exposure would be say employees did consistently start requesting 6 days with every one of these relationships. The maximum based on usage in the 11-12 school year would be 333,000.
So I don't understand the cost. If we're not talking about subs, where does the cost come in?
That's changing from 1 day for those relationships.
No, I understand, but I'm saying if I pay you as an employee and you don't come in and I don't have a sub for you, I understand I'm paying you for a day you're not here, but I don't see how that's an additional cost to the district. I didn't pay, there's no more pay to you whether you're here or not. It's the same pay. So how does the cost increase other than subs if somebody's not here?
This is paid leave time, whereas before they would have gotten, the employees would likely take
annual leave,
more.
which you do pay for, right?
Annual leave is paid for, but in this particular case, employees for those relationships, they get 1 day, and 2 in special circumstances, they can now go to 3 days. And so employees do tend to use that full 3 days, whereas now we might see them only being out 1 day. We would move the number of days for those absences to a little bit over 3.
Right, but unless we were calculating, unless the number that you gave us is the number of days that somebody was not paid to be here and they still took off, is that what you're saying you calculated?
No, those employees tend to come back to work after just using the 1 day, or they may use their own other sources of leave, which then reduces those available leave balances.
And if I may jump in, Mr. Chairman, and Tracy, help me, and in the end, when they were to leave the district, they get paid for those unused days, correct?
If they have 15 or more years.
Right. Therefore, James, those days that we give them would not be deducted from that. That's where the cost comes into play. So if I've got 15 days, you give me 2 extra days for bereavement, And now I get paid for 15 instead of 13 when I leave the district because I got 2 more days and I get to keep 15. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, and also employees, after they accrue the 102-day maximum, they get paid every year for the balance over 102. And also with employees that exhaust all of their leave, by giving them additional days of bereavement leave that they may now take, if they're in a situation where they exhaust leave, basically they may exhaust leave faster if they didn't have the option to use that. Instead, they were using their own personal leave.
Right, so I mean, I can see them exhausting their personal faster, but I don't see any other way that it costs, because we're not actually adding days to them. We're allowing them to take more days, but we're not adding 2 extra days on everybody's leave. We're just allowing them to use more leave under this program.
We are allowing additional free days that are not docked from any other balance.
That's right, but I wouldn't be paid for those days if I left the district. I'm not gaining 2 more days that you're paying me for.
Yes, you are.
Oh, I see where you're coming from, James.
Yes, you are.
No, I got what he's saying.
I guess
I got it now. It clicked. The light came on. Yeah. I got you. What you're saying is if we give them 3 days of funeral bereavement days, and they leave the district, they are not getting any more extra days. But in fact, what they are saying, they would, because if we didn't give them 3 bereavement days, then they would use their personal days.
Right, and that point I do get, but we're not adding days to the number of time to everybody's annual leave.
No, it's just that they don't have to use their annual leave days.
Right, okay. I'm fine. I'm fine without putting that in the policy.
But what I would like for us to change in the policy, and I don't know how I missed this the first time, page 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, under bereavement, the last sentence right under bereavement leaves, that paragraph there, where we have the superintendent is authorized to extend this leave to 6 days with pay in special instances. Let's change that to up to 6 days. So people don't just, I know everybody is real honest, but I just don't want somebody to say, well, I can get up to 6 days, so I'm going to take my 6 days. It's up to 6 days, and it will be at the superintendent or designee's discretion how many over the 3 days they can get. But I would like to suggest we put up to versus bottom line 6 days. Make sense on that?
Up to, fine. Any other questions? Well, I agree with that wording right there. I just don't agree with everybody added to the bereavement thing. I'm not going to agree with that because it is a cost. Yeah. I don't care what you say. It's going to be a cost.
What do you want to take out?
Well, I just think I like the policy the way it was. I guess it's pretty much the way it was. I mean, I didn't see much. Like I said, I thought it was fairly generous.
I guess I was trying to put it in line with the state, since we operate basically on the state guidelines anyway.
Yeah, if they'd fund us, then I would make it along with that.
They don't fund the state either. We went years without a pay raise. But still not. But I was just sort of trying to put it in line.
I just think that it's a good. I mean, that's my personal opinion. Anybody else? Any other discussion?
Well, I agree with you, Mr. Chairman. I think that expanding it to in-laws changes the definition of immediate family, and that's just a fact. And if we're calling it immediate family, and now we include under the umbrella of immediate family all the in-laws, I don't think the state considers in-laws as part of the immediate family. They may now, but they certainly didn't when I worked for them. Sister-in-laws and daughter-in-laws and all of those folks were not part of the immediate family. The immediate family typically were mother, father, sister, brother, children that were in that category.
Well, can I compromise with you guys? Can I make a compromise that you take the in-laws out but leave grandparents and grandchild in?
I agree.
I will make that compromise if you guys are willing to do that. But I think it's very important that we recognize grandparents
And grandchildren.
grandchildren.
I agree with Ms. Anderson.
One concern to throw out, because we have had this conversation within payroll, et cetera, is we do have some folks that have lots of aunts and uncles, so that would be one thing I'd want to pose. In terms of number of days actually taken, aunts and uncles were very large numbers of days, so to increase that from 1 to 3, that was a larger portion of the cost. So that would be another relationship to consider. We didn't have so many people reporting in-laws. My guess is they were just reporting it as a mother or father and not necessarily designating it correctly as an in-law. But we did have lots and lots of requests for aunts and uncles, and that was a large cost item. So that's just something for consideration.
Well, I just said that I would compromise and drop everything else out.
Okay, except for grandparents.
And
Okay.
grandchildren. And then we could drop the in-laws and aunts, uncles, nephews, and just give them, what do they get, a day for those people?
Yes, increased to 2 in special circumstances.
Okay, is that a compromise for you guys?
Well, under the current policy, you'd have to reinstate that then, right, Tracy? Because right now that's being strike through, if I'm reading it correctly. So currently it's being proposed to drop it even for the 1 day, right?
Well, we just moved all those folks up, so
Well, we moved them up under 3 days, though.
Up.
Ms. Anderson is suggesting we take them back to 1 day. Am I
Right.
correct, Ms. Anderson?
Correct.
Yeah.
I can bring that.
Yeah, that's what she's saying.
Except the grandparents and grandchildren.
Right, except grandparents and grandchildren, they would stay up under 3. All the others would fall back down under the 1 day.
Sure.
With an extension up to 2 days
Right.
if
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Is that a good compromise?
That's much better.
Okay.
So we're defining, that's how we're defining the immediate family. Sure I had too.
Good point.
Any other, y'all want to change it now, or you want to bring it back with those changes next time to make sure? I think we probably should.
Yeah, just make sure.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be within the next calendar year anyway, so let's not.
Bring it back next
Yeah,
time.
let's just bring it back let's clean that up.
Okay.
Any objections to that?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you, Tracy.
Thank
Good report.
Thank you. And I'm next again.
Okay, we're at the approval of, for revisions to policy GCQE, retirement professional staff and policy, retirement and support staff. I believe we're combining those policies. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. We're combining the 2.
Any questions for Tracy while she's here? Hearing none, do I hear a motion?
Second.
Brill, Ms. Anderson. Any other discussion? Okay, we were ready to vote.
Yes.
Thank you. That passed unanimously. On to the next item, no business. Old business, no action requested. Common Core standards. This is second in a series of 3 on the Common Core standards. Dr. Brashear?
Thank you, Dr. Fleming. Last meeting, we talked a little bit about kind of an overview of the Common Core standards and how they are different, perhaps, than our current state standards that we have continued to work under. Tonight, we're going to be a little more focused on the professional learning component of the Common Core standards, those kinds of professional learning that have already occurred, as well as those items and those ways that we're moving forward for this summer for immediate implementation. With that, I'm going to call on Sue Millette, our Chief Academic Officer, and she will make the presentation with a number of other people.
Thank you, Dr. Brochu. Yes, we are going to delve a little deeper into the professional learning. We have been very busy, our folks have, and at this time I'd like to have the following folks come forward. We have Nancy Gregory, Executive Director for Teaching and Learning. We have our math coordinator, Mary Lostetter, our elementary math coach, Carol Sample, our ELA coordinator, Dave Foster, and our literacy coach, Alice Shawn. And I'm going to turn it over to Nancy.
Good evening. Tonight, the coaches and coordinators will target key professional learning topics, identify steps for the alignment of the Common Core work completed, and share the proposed roadmap toward the full implementation of the Common Core state standards. Closing comments from this evening's presentation will include results from the recent teacher readiness assessment, the proposed community parent awareness efforts, and the creation of school-level implementation teams. Let's begin tonight's conversation.
Good evening. I'm Alice Shawn, the elementary literacy coach. I believe in your packet you have the ELA timelines, and I'm going to speak to you a little bit about the opportunities that we have provided teachers for Common Core professional development in the past, which would be last year. The first two columns you will see 2011, 2012, and then the summer. And then I'm going to talk briefly about currently what we are doing for professional development, and then our plan for the future. So I'm just going to highlight a few of these opportunities. In the past, which like I said was last year in ELA, we took our time to deliver all of the standards to all of the elementary teachers, met with them in grade level meetings, really provided them an orientation to what the document looks like, gave them an overview of our plan for the way we would proceed with this orientation and with the document. One of the other things that was very big for us last year is we adopted our new English language arts, or our new reading textbook, which is Treasures. And so we spent a lot of time looking at textbooks because we wanted our textbook to be a resource that would support the Common Core standards, but to be used as a resource. So we went through textbook adoption last year in K-5. And then the last thing I want to highlight from last year is we put a lot of time and energy into a program called Step Up to Writing. It is a writing program, but as a district we decided not to purchase the program, but to use a component of the program to help students really gain a great understanding of what informational writing would look like, expository writing, and it's provided a structure for our K-5 teachers. We've used this for 2 years now, and we're seeing great results. So those are our highlights from the past. Presently, this school year, we have fully implemented the Common Core standards in grades K-2. Spent a lot of time with professional development with those teachers, and then the implementation for 3-5 is coming. The full implementation will be the next school year, 2013-14, but teachers in those grades were given the option of moving to the Common Core standards if they would like. We spent a lot of time, Dave Foster, the ELA coordinator, and I talked a lot about where we were going to go, what focus were we going to have this school year. And since all of the standards look very different and they're very new, we decided this school year that we would focus on the reading standards and the speaking and listening standards. The speaking and listening standards are very different for our teachers and our children. So that was our focus this year. And we spent a lot of time with that training. Currently, Carol Sample, the math coach, and I are working with teams of teachers, approximately 6 from every grade level, to take what we have as far as the Treasures. In ELA, I'm working with the Treasures, which is our textbook, looking at all the other initiatives in our district, and we are creating alignment documents so that teachers, when they begin the school year, they will have a path to follow with lots of choice based on what the needs of their children, but also looking at those Common Core standards. So we are working on those documents now with the assistance of the teachers. In the future, which will be here very soon, we are going to focus on the language standards and on our writing standards. So we broke those into 2 parts. A lot of our professional development in the fall will pertain to those 2 different areas.
Our teachers in grades 3 through 5 will certainly fully implement the Common Core. And as I did this year, I will offer a graduate course for literacy in the Common Core standards, and it's offered for our teachers. And we had a great turnover this year, turnout rate. Everybody wanted to take it. They're very interested. So we're going to offer that again in the fall. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Dave.
Good evening. Professional development at the middle and high school level. Last year we spent an enormous amount of time orienting our middle and high school teachers to the actual standards themselves. Each teacher received a manual, walked them through those manuals, identifying the sections as a foundation then for future professional development and how do we utilize these in our instructional program. We looked at the 5 key shifts that are taking place in ELA from the 2008 standards to the Common Core standards and gave middle school and high school an option this year to use the Common Core standards with the understanding that in August of 2013, full implementation would begin at both middle and at high school. For the upcoming years, which we will call the present, the identification of the 5 shifts, let me backtrack on that statement. This current year and this summer will be the present. During this year, I met with middle school teams and each high school department, and we walked through each one of the 5 key shifts in the English language arts. We had major discussions on what does that look like instructionally and how do we include that in the instructional program. The second part of that, we took a look at the performance tasks that are expected for the Common Core so that those strategies that students need to implement to be successful in the assessment are taking place now, and it's not a practice they need to learn the day of the assessment. The final area we looked at was continuing to focus on the reading and the speaking and listening strategies. Speaking and listening strategies for middle school and high schoolers in the past was not a common procedure to see. Students are exploring the opportunities of speech making, presenting speeches to the class, and listening to presentations to collect new information which they'll use in a writing of a composition. In the future, middle school and high school will begin next year looking at a textbook adoption. We're waiting on the alignment to the Common Core standards with their current resources because of the adoption. Purposefully, we want to take a careful look at what the state is offering us and what additional resources we'll need in order to align to those standards and make them full of rigor.
Say that again, please.
Beg pardon?
Say that again. That timeline. Describe what you just described. Describe that again, please.
We're going to take a careful look at the textbook
Right.
adoptions.
So back up. You said you're going to wait until when? You said to
starting this. After Christmas, we're going to start looking at the alignment of the Common Core standards to those textbooks that the state is offering us. There will be a built-in alignment, but we want to examine those for our purposes. The final thing we'll be looking at in the future will be then developing a curriculum utilizing the resources the state provides us and those resources that we currently have in developing a curriculum that is aligned directly to the Common Core standards. The last thing on the next slide, guys, that I would like to share is an example of rigor, but before I go there, I want to go back to your recollection of the ACE presentation. It could not have been a better example of the kind of rigor we are looking for utilizing the Common Core standards. The students involved speaking and listening. They did their research. They identified what information do we need to make a recommendation. They identified their target audience. They put together the presentation, and the complete documentation of that is a perfect example of the rigor that we will begin to expect with the Common Core standards. This is minor compared to that example that the kids from ACE brought to us this evening. So It could not have been better to segue into that this evening. So thank you, Ace. We appreciate it. Right. At this time, I'd like to ask Carol Sample to address the math standards.
He does that all the time. Anyway, I'm Carol Sample, and I'm the elementary math coach. And if you'll flip to my timeline, okay, we started in math last year for a very specific purpose. As the state started looking at the progression of the Common Core math standards and when that was going to come into play, there was a gap that was going to occur in the area of fractions specifically. So we started to address that last year, and that was my focus with third grade teachers. The current fourth grade teachers were taught Common Core fractions last year in addition to South Carolina standards in order to prevent this gap from happening. Those kids are sitting in fourth grade this year, and they were given additional standards to be taught in addition to South Carolina, so that in 14-15, when this big assessment hits us, there will be no gaps in that particular domain. So that's where I started with third grade, and also orientation to all grade levels. Last summer, we did workshops. Since we were going to go ahead and put kindergarten and first and second grade on Common Core, we had to align our current materials that were not necessarily Common Core to that with teachers over the summer. So we did that last year for K1 and 2. Moving to the present, which is this past school year, what we did is we fully implemented K1-2, fractions 3, 4, 5, and I worked at school level. I would go into schools and spend the day working with grade levels, talking about those different strategies to get them ready for the change. But also we went through a math textbook adoption process. So we do have new math textbooks ready to roll for next year, and the training is going to be this summer, and teachers are going to get grade level specific training for 3 hours in the summer. And we're happy that they're going to do grade level specific training. But right now, as Alice was saying, we're working with these teams of teachers that we are not just trusting those textbook companies to say they're aligned, because, you know, they all want to say they're aligned. So we're really digging through them at this point. We're looking and we're actually tallying how many times they're taught, and then we're supplementing with extra problems of the month performance tasks for next year, so that'll be ready to roll out with the rigor. The future, which is next year, fully implement K-5 with the new math program. Continued school level and district level professional development will be emphasized. And I'll teach a math course next semester in the fall, focusing on how the standards progress through the grade levels with an emphasis on the math practice standards, which is a whole nother set of standards. It's going to be the vehicle that they're going to learn the content standards. And I'm going to let Mary Lostetter have it now and talk about middle and high school.
Okay, we received new high school math textbooks this past year. So the summer prior to that, we had committees meet. They had already had an orientation to the Common Core standards. And when we met, we examined very similarly to the elementary group and went through and saw the changes in the content and began the process of creating a scope and sequence, which will be ongoing the more in-depth we get with Common Core. And we offered a statistics course this past year online just to refresh memories, because that's one big change in the Common Core in math. Some statistics has been placed in 6th, 7th, 8th, and a little bit in high school too, other than having a specific statistics course. So this is a good refresher course. Someone from USC is teaching it, and the neat thing about it, it's been online. They've had a couple face-to-face meetings, and would like to continue to offer another one of those. And also, we had a group of middle school math leaders that attended a national conference in Florida this past February. And what they did, They looked at the domains. Used to be in math, we called them strands. And like you would take geometry and examine what does it look like in 6th, 7th, and 8th. The principals selected these people. There were a total of 11. And their responsibility will be to come back and to share with PD or professional learning in the coming year with their departments and within the district. We also had the implementation of the TI Inspire Graphing Calculator. We have had monthly training sessions. The teachers have middle and high from 4 to 7 on Tuesdays. They've attended training with a consultant. And then they go back and they practice the lessons and the activities with their classes to improve student engagement. Along with this, we're offering a regional math workshop this summer, Common Core. We were selected, and they will have a choice of 4 sessions on integrating the technology, specifically the TI Inspire Graphing Calculator, with the teaching of math. And Carol mentioned practice standards, so let me clarify, and that might be clear to all of you, but with the math, there are really 2 sets of standards, the practice standards and the content standards. And the practice consists of the how-to, what are you going to do to get them to learn the material, and then the content. Okay, the TI Inspire Graphing Calculator trainings have involved the practice standards. Okay, and then that's what we did last year. This summer and this coming school year, I mentioned the regional workshop, and we're going to continue with the statistics course. We're going to have a 3-day algebra workshop, and that's tying in the Common Core with the way we have been teaching algebra. What are the changes? What should we be doing? Looking to the future, we will extend that with an algebra course throughout this coming year for the teachers. And also the high school math leaders will be going to Washington, D.C. for NCTM, the National Conference Institute, and it will be devoted to the practice standards with the intention of coming back and providing professional learning at their individual high schools. The future, we will continue with monthly training sessions for the graphing calculator, the TI Inspire, and algebra and statistics. There have been other changes, but those are the 2 pieces that are big in middle and high. And then, let's see, this coming year we'll have a new middle school math textbook. And we will go through a similar process to what we did for the high school one. We will have an alignment, and a scope and sequence will be completed by groups of teachers. That's it.
This next slide is sort of like the one Dave was showing you. This is a very tiny snippet of something to show you. On the left side, that's an example of our 2007 math state standards. We used to have strands called number and operations. It was kind of an isolated concept of number and computation. Now, operations and algebraic thinking, it's all taught together. A lot of things are integrated. Algebra is with the computation. On the left, you see 5.2-1. That's all about place value. And Common Core, there's a whole domain about place value. It's so important. It's got its own place. These standards are deep, 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 and that's what we're taking a lot of time unpacking them for the teachers.
Yes, in addition to professional learning, we are also working on parent and community resources currently. There are a couple of examples we wanted to share with you. One is from the Great City Schools, and we're going to click on this and open this, but these are parent guidelines that define Common Core expectations for math and ELA for parents. And we wanted you to see a couple of the resources that we've been looking at. We love that this was a parent roadmap. As you can see, this is grade 7. But what your child will be learning in grade 7, partnering with your child's teacher, and then the standards are broken up so you can also see the continuum. Just to give you kind of an idea of what we're looking at. Another resource that we're using is from the National PTA, and that's a Parent Guide to Student Success. Just to scroll down again, 7th grade. A sample of what your child will be working on, again, so parents will know what to expect.
Will we have this on the internet for parents to look up? Website?
That's what I'm getting to. We are going to talk about that. We are getting ready to give you a sample of what we are producing. So a sample of what your child will be working on. Again, just some of the resources helping your child learn at home. This resource, again, was from the National PTA. But using these and other resources, we are developing community and parent resources via a Common Core website and also digital and print media. And Mrs. Millett and Mr. Foster are going to pass out. We have a brochure for you. This is actually a draft of a Richland 2 parent guide that we are working on right now. And we thought you might like to see a copy. So again, in addition to working on professional learning, we are focusing on parent and community resources. And now Ms. Millett's going to talk to you a little bit about the teacher readiness survey.
Okay, I'd like to just sort of mention here that we received several questions from some of our board members, and that really helped us sort of design our presentation tonight. And one of those suggestions, and we thought it was very good, what have you done? How do you know if your teachers are ready? So we put together a survey, and with Jeff Pott's assistance, we launched it just a few days ago. And as of this afternoon, we had over 1,000 teachers respond. We thought that was incredible. Now, we're going to give you a copy of this, or you can go online. We'll give you a link to it. But wanted you to see the fact that 74% of our folks felt like they were pretty comfortable with the Common Core. That was reassuring to us. Now, does that mean they understand everything? No. The second one that you have is about the, are you prepared to use the Common Core state standards? 78% of our teachers who responded said yes, they felt like they were prepared. Then we asked, what kind of support did you receive from your school? Because we wanted to know really where are the gaps, where are some things that we need to take a look at. And so we had 56% of our teachers who responded say they felt like they had support from their staff, their administration at the school level. And then the next question was adequate support from the district. Are we providing adequate support? And we had 57% of our teachers who felt that way. We have had a variety. We asked them to please let us know what they taught, what grade level. We had a lot of different folks respond, all the way from pre-K to adult ed. If you go down to the next one, it will tell you then the content area. We were pleased that we had so many in our kindergarten. We had 133 responses from our kindergarten teachers. Now that is not just the number of our kindergarten teachers, that's the number who are kindergarten teachers who responded to this particular survey, which is a really good indication, we thought, because it's almost, how many kindergarten teachers do we have? About 150? So a good number of them responded. We were also very pleased to see the math and the ELA, but also science and social studies teachers are very interested. And in some of the comments, and we're going to sort of disaggregate those for you and share those comments with you, exactly what their their needs are. And I know another question that several of you were interested in is, what are we doing for those who are not successful, or those students who are ESOL students, or those students who are special ed? And I will say this: we are redesigning academics to better meet the needs of our students as well as our teachers, and to help us with the Common Core. So we're bringing on folks, giving them opportunities to really work with our special services teachers. They will get professional development. You should have on your desk, or you haven't given those out yet. Okay, it's coming. But you'll see this summer what the professional development opportunities are, and we have them for everyone. We're also looking at our ESOL population, what we can do to help those students be successful, as well as our special services. We know that is a need, and we're excited about this opportunity to plan and work with them. So we are not leaving, or do not plan to leave, any of our children behind or any of our teachers behind. But as you'll notice in the summer brochure that you have here, Adventures in Learning, we will have a good, hopefully, listing of things that our teachers can participate in. We will again continue with grade levels, and Nancy's going to talk a little bit about the implementation team. I think this will further address that question. Okay.
I am, and you have in front of you a booklet of our professional learning opportunities. If you'll notice, our focus will continue to be Common Core. And we have a plethora of activities this summer and professional learning for all classified, certified administrators, and that's what you have in front of you. What I'm going to talk to you about is implementation teams. We have a district implementation team for the rollout of Common Core, but we are also beginning school level teams. Each school has a 5 to 6 member team that will guide the implementation of Common Core, and right now they are putting those teams together. And we want to make sure that that implementation is regardless of content area, across all content areas. Teams will participate in monthly meetings at the school level and quarterly meetings at the district level to ensure ongoing support in the sharing of resources. And what you see on the screen is what we have planned this summer in June, on June 11th and June 24th, and we'd love for you to join us for any of our summer professional learning opportunities, but even when we have our implementation teams coming together, because again, our purpose is to make sure we're providing that ongoing support to ensure that our folks are ready. So with that, this concludes our presentation for tonight. The coaches and coordinators have again given you a copy of what's going on this summer. We would love you to join us. Feel free to come to any of our sessions. And do you have any questions for our team at this time?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. First of all, let me say, Nancy and Sue, I'm extremely pleased to see this document in particular about the strategies and plans for specific content-specific training during the summer. I'm very, very pleased about that, because I was a bit concerned when you shared the numbers a moment ago that talked about 57% of the folks who were surveyed felt like they had not necessarily gotten a level of support from, or had gotten a level of support from their schools or the district, which to me then means that 43% felt like they hadn't gotten it, and that's pretty significant. I think that with the, hopefully with the participation in the content-specific exercise and classes this summer, that number should go up even more significantly. So I'm real happy about that. I want to put Ms. Sarah Wheeler on the spot back there, if I may, though, and ask her, Sarah, could I put you on the spot? Come up to the mic, please. That's okay. They used to do that to me at the Senate all the time. Some guy would call me out of the audience. So I want to hear from you on the spot. What's your level of comfort, or how do you feel about the Common Core as it relates to IB and what you're doing? Is there a smooth mesh? Do you feel you need to become more involved? Is there an overlap with the curriculum in particular? How does it dovetail with what you're doing?
Well, actually, a lot of the Common Core was taken from IB. So, because again, if you think about it, it's making sure that all kids everywhere in this country and abroad all have the high level of rigor. So the Common Core is really sort of based on IB. IB has a South Carolina organization, so all of our teachers attended that last fall. They had an IB person relate Common Core as well as a State Department. In fact, Mary was there and actually said the woman was incredible. She wished we could bring her back. We have an IB conference coming up in this summer in July. The pre-conference focuses totally on Common Core. 2 or 3 options. One's literacy. The other, I think, is school implementation. Several sessions during that, again, focus on Common Core. So actually, as far as our IB schools, it meshes beautifully, and it sort of helps support what we're doing so that we're not in conflict with what the state might be requiring versus what the international world requires. So it's beautiful, and it actually helps us. In fact, a lot of the activities, unit planners, things that we're doing with IB, it almost gives us a little bit of a leg up in that we have a framework to follow. And we're willing to share that with everybody.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Other questions?
Mr. Chair, I have one question. I know Alice Shine talked about that we're now using K-5 step up to writing. Can you tell me what's the difference between that and the 6th trait writing, and have you seen an increase in the writing test scores?
I'm going to explain it the way that I would explain it to teachers.
Okay.
Okay. The 6th trait rubric that we've been using is a rubric. It's not a program. It is a rubric to help teachers and students score their work in the 6 traits of good writing. Step Up to Writing, as I said before, is a program. We did not purchase the whole program. We are not implementing a whole program, but we did take parts from the program and implemented those parts into Richland 2 where we felt there was a need. And we found a very strong need to have every child and every teacher understand how to write informational or expository text. So it is a structure. 6 traits is a rubric, and we've also used empowering writers. So we've used some other things, which is a genre study. And when I talk with teachers about this, when Dave talks with teachers about this, we want teachers to understand you can use lots of things to teach writing, but if something works, we want to be as consistent as we can with the students, and it's worked.
And we've used that for 2 years now?
Yes.
And you've seen the difference?
Yes. And it's just like anything else. We've trained teachers. We continue to train teachers. In that timeline you'll see, new to 2, we bring them back in when our teachers are hired, and we train them over the summer. Like I said, it's like everything else. In some schools it's fully implemented, and as we add more training and some teachers come back for a refresher, then they join in, and when they start seeing results from other schools, then there's a lot of buy-in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Somebody mentioned, I don't know who it was, that it was optional for high schools this year to participate in the Common Core. Can you explain why that was optional and which high schools chose to participate in that?
All right. Come to the mic, Dave.
All of the high schools chose to do that. The reason we didn't manpower and the resources to do this training K through 12, it was impossible to do that entire span. So we concentrated what we could with high school, and those strategies and techniques that we addressed this year are being fully implemented by them, with the understanding that beginning in August, it's full implementation of all standards.
So you said it's a resource issue. What resources were we lacking?
Manpower.
So we've added additional resources?
Yes, sir, and we've provided sessions during the summer as well, with last summer and this coming summer.
I understand sessions, but we've added people to be able to handle that.
Yes, sir, we have. And we're training key leaders at the high schools to support that as well.
Also, I think you said we were looking to adopt the state textbook in ELA, yes, not this year, but December next year?
Starting immediately after December, typically we receive the indication from the State Department. These are the top vendors for your consideration. We typically we get that information in December.
Was there Common Core material available prior to December next year? Was there Common Core aligned material for textbooks prior to December?
Yes, sir. We've purchased some Common Core aligned materials, and we've taken the materials that we currently have and seen where they do align with it as well, and are utilizing those.
I guess I'm not understanding. Which textbooks are we looking to bring in December then?
Those that the state has typically on a cycle of every 5 to 7 years, we're up for readoption at this point in time. It's a natural progression into that adoption of new textbooks.
I guess what I'm getting at is it's just a little bit of a concern. Teachers, if we bring on the textbook midway through next year, and the teachers have to then begin
No, sir, we begin the process in December. The textbooks actually don't arrive and are not utilized for instruction
until 2014-15,
correct.
the year that we actually test on Common Core.
Yes, sir.
So teachers will have to get used to new material at the same time that they're
sir.
having to give the test aid.
Yes, sir.
Do we have any baseline data? If I was to ask Dr. Brochu this year, how would we do if we were to be given the Common Core this year? Do we have data that would show us where we are so that we know as we do this training and we move forward how our students are progressing? You know, is the training, the textbooks, everything that we're doing, is it working? And to what degree, I guess, is what I'm asking.
Let me answer that from an elementary and middle. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Let me answer that for you.
Yeah.
For English language arts, we do have benchmarks in place. They came with the Treasures reading series. They are Common Core aligned, and they give us a very strong indication of what that alignment is to the Common Core and how well we would do. We don't have those results yet. We'll have those at the end of the school year, a week from this Friday, for elementary. For middle and high school, we do have writing assessments that we typically do throughout the year. We have teacher input from the assessments that they're doing. We've talked about what does the Common Core assessment look like? How are they assessing students? What kind of strategies do kids need to put in place that will be indicative of the performance tasks that come from the Common Core? So we've implemented those this year and are collecting feedback from teachers as well.
Okay. So it's good that we have some data.
We have some, yes, sir.
And, I appreciate the survey, which gives us some indication, but I think it would be great if there was some way that we had actual benchmark data kind of across the board as we go through, so that we don't get sort of a surprise when we get to the test year, which is not that far away. And so I don't know what work's being done for that now. I would just ask that we look for something to help us benchmark, and not just at the end of the year, but something that will benchmark sort of as we go along.
Mr. Manning, if I may, that's our last session that we're going to share with you.
Okay,
is
sorry,
the
I jumped the gun.
That's okay.
So, yeah.
I'm glad you're excited about it. But we are too. But yes, we will go into a lot more detail.
Oh, you should have stopped me. I would have waited.
Well,
I'm
I wasn't
sorry.
going to interrupt.
Yeah. Thank you.
That'll be part 3 of the presentation.
Question. I noticed in the personnel that Mary Lobstetter is leaving, and with all the valuable knowledge that you're taking with you, are we priming somebody to take?
Yes, go ahead. We're actually not going to lose Miss Lostetter completely. She's going to be working with us part-time with our brand new or new to 2 teachers in math, middle and high, which is greatly needed. And so we're excited about that. Yes, we will replace that position. We plan to do that as soon as we can, as soon as I can get with Dr. Lovett and Tracy Batchelder and get the information out so we can post it. But yes, we will be replacing that position.
But she's going to stay until we get on line and target and doing well. Right? Yes, ma'am. Mary, I haven't heard you say yes yet.
I will stay as long as.
All right, good. When I saw that, but I know how you are. Well, thank you. And go ahead. Oh, thank you. That's what I needed to know.
Other questions? I mean, just a general question. You're looking for material to support the standards. What if it's not adequate? I mean, literally, you're saying you're doing a state textbook. That's where you're going. So.
Well, we've looked, actually we've done a lot of research online. There's an awful lot of information out there and a lot of really good research that's been done, really good programs and parts of it. And what we're trying to do is pull together what we think is in the best use for us in our district. So while we do rely some on our textbooks, we're really trying to kind of move away from solely relying on our textbook and looking more to the internet for those very good programs. And of course, some of the states who received Race to the Top money got a head start on us, and so they've created some of the units of study that we've been looking at, and some look good and some, we're not so sure. So
it's a learning process for
yes, sir.
To accumulate a curriculum that we feel will work for our students.
That's correct.
I'm looking forward to next time. Assessment. Yeah, sure.
And this involves the graphing calculator project that we've been using. And I mentioned student engagement. And if you've had a chance to look at those 8 practice standards, it's not about skill and drill anymore. We will be having ELA in math, but that's why we have put forth so much effort. And we have Matt Owens here, who is being trained by the National Texas Instrument Organization to be a trainer in this. And Matt, we've only got a couple minutes, but if you want to put a plug how it's helped with Common Core, I mean, really, because I thought your question was very good, how you step outside of that textbook and you use a tool. And there's more than one tool, but you use that to help with the integration of these practice standards in the relearning or how do you teach.
Who's using the the graphic calculator?
Middle and high school. We were able to get funded some TI Inspire, which is the top level. And this year we put them in the middle schools. We started out, it's a 3-year proposal that I wrote. We have completed year 1 and provided the training, and it's been amazing to see what the middle school teachers have done. Okay, and Matt?
Middle school students?
Just go ahead and say how it's helped.
She didn't mean to put you on the spot, man.
All right, I currently teach mathematics at Spring Valley High School. For years, I've taught mathematics with the TI 8384 calculator, but now TI has increased the power of the technology, and the most important component of this device is more than just a calculator. It's an assessment tool. A lot of times through so many technological resources, you can gather data from your students, but these are powerful devices where I can transmit questions, whether free response, multiple choice, or any varied kind of question to the students and get immediate data. So the benchmarks that the board is wanting, those things can come right out of the Navigator system. And I've been getting trained through Dr. Gasky, Betty Gasky through TI, and currently I'm going to be, hopefully in the next 2 months, a national instructor for TI, and we'll be able to assist the district in implementing more graphing technologies. There are a lot of resources out there, and what we're really excited about is that the middle school teachers are involved. On Tuesdays at Spring Valley, we have about 15 to 20 middle school teachers. So if we start in grades 7 and 8, when they come to us for high school, full implementation with the TI devices for Common Core purposes will be full speed.
So you said you're going to be the national instructor?
qualified.
Yes, ma'am.
That doesn't mean you're leaving the district.
No, ma'am.
You're going to be qualified as
Oh, you're going to be qualified as
Be
an
qualified,
Okay, I
right.
just
Right now, I'm just attending training through webinars through TI.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your continued support. And phase 3 or part 3 of our presentations will be an assessment. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to make sure that Dr. Davis is, at Spring Valley is comfortable with the work that Mr. Owens is going to be doing district-wide, because he's going to come up short in those math classes at Spring Valley.
That's true. Well, I guarantee we put them to use.
Absolutely.
Listen, it's amazing listening to the core knowledge, because I remember I went to a very good high school, by the way, and went to college. In the first semester, I got into this course called statistics. And I had no idea what that was in the first semester. I learned quickly, but I mean, I had no idea. And of course, I used it later on more in a master's program than I just did in undergraduate school. I still didn't know I needed it until I got to another level. But I'm glad that you're touching on these types of mathematics. Okay, next is our report on the district office renovations. Mr. Carter.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to report to you what we're going to be doing this summer at the district office. Just go ahead and go to the second slide. I'm going to try to use my little red pointer here. Now, this is Brookfield Road, and this is, I think it's Pine Street right here. Currently, we have an entrance that comes into the campus right here. There is no connection here, and this parking actually is street side, and it's fairly dangerous. If we were building a building like this today, we'd never be allowed to design parking where you back out into traffic. We have lots of near misses. This has given us an opportunity to fix that. What we'll have now is an entrance here. You can have a 360-degree track around the building, or you can go out this way. These will both be in and out entrances. We will actually pick up about 3 parking spaces. If you've been over to the district office lately, the planning portable used to sit right here. Now it sits a couple miles this direction on the Windsor campus, and we hope to have it up fully operational on Thursday. Planning has moved temporarily into Longleaf, and we will actually take the HR portable and move those folks into the planning, what was the planning portable, over at Windsor. So part of HR will be at the Windsor campus on the area near the cafeteria, so they have easy access for any patrons they need to deal with. And then the actual portable that is sitting here, the HR portable, will actually move also to the Windsor campus, but on the back side of the campus. We're going to relocate the sheriff's deputies off of the Richland Northeast campus. They're going to occupy that portable. That actually, we'd have to do that anyway because we need to pave that parking lot, and we have to get that portable off of there. So we're going to, and of course, many as you know, the Northeast community wants the sheriff's portable gone from in front of their school. Mrs. Anderson, I did talk to Mr. O'Brien. He's a very interesting character, and we had a long conversation. It turns out we had some similar assignments in the Army. Now, this will all commence on the 10th. Again, we're creating a new connection here, all new parking here, and that will be all that we do this summer. Renovations to the actual building will not be for another couple of years. And I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Questions?
Mr. Chair, so from my understanding, these individuals have already moved out of the portables?
Planning only. Planning has moved to Longleaf, is occupying some space at
Because
Longleaf.
I was told that the portables were already moved or on a truck to be moved or something.
The planning portable has been moved.
Just the planning portable?
I can't move HR into the planning portable until I get it fully set up. We're running plumbing, electrical, and data.
So who's still in the portables?
The HR folks are still in their portable. They have not been displaced. There are some portables over on the Forest Lake campus that have special ed and IT, but they're not going anywhere.
So the only people that have actually moved out of the portables are planning.
I think it's 7 folks that were in planning.
And where are they now?
Longleaf.
All of them at Longleaf?
All in Longleaf.
So where will personnel go?
To the portable at Windsor. The planning portable has been moved to Windsor.
All the way to
As soon
Windsor.
as I have it set up, then I will relocate HR into that planning portal. So about the same number of people.
Okay, and then will the telephone numbers
They're
follow
the
them?
same. They're the same.
Everything will stay
The
the
day
same?
that Fred hooked up his phone at Longleaf, because it's all internet based. In fact, he called me that day and I said, wow, your number came up as if you were still at the district office.
Will anybody come inside the current district office from the portables? Are there any spaces within the?
No, ma'am. The current building is packed. Now, we will preserve, on this back side here, we're going to preserve some mobility issues, people that have mobility issues, and some visitor parking, because the front will not be accessible during this construction. So all visitors that will actually come to the current DO will have to come in the back door. And there is a handicap ramp right here.
So Jack, when will the HR folks actually move into the portable that was moved?
I hope to move them Thursday or Friday. We actually have a moving company that's doing that for us. It really depends on how quickly I can get data. I can get power, I can get sewer and water. We got to set a pole for IT, and then they've got to run some wiring in there. So hopefully we'll have all that up Thursday, and then we can move them right after that.
Then when does are we doing the paving and that construction this summer?
Starting on the 10th of June.
10th of June.
Mr. Chairman, Jack, is there a plan for, I guess Ken, probably the question to Ken, is there a plan to do some extensive communications to district staff and others regarding this move from Brookfield over to Windsor, particularly for HR? And I can imagine how busy they are during the summer and leading up to the fall. So there's some, I'm not just talking about putting it on R2 TV, but something beyond that to communicate to the general public, people who are looking to apply for a job and turn in information and that sort of thing, that this operation has moved.
I defer that
If
to
not,
Ken. I
there
did
should
talk
be.
to the entire district staff.
I was going to say, Jack, you may want to talk about our town hall meetings that we have quarterly with the entire district office staff.
I did talk to everybody in the district office and explain to them the parking and how they would be displaced and how long that would be. It'll be about 9 weeks. So the people that are working in the DO will actually be parking at Forest Lake. We'll create a safe passage for them from Forest Lake to the building. Ken will have to put out information to the general public to where they would need to go.
Right, I'm just talking specifically about HR. In terms of people that come to the district office for HR reasons, there will be a plan. I'm not just talking about district staff. I'm talking about the general population, the general public, for HR purposes, I guess is what I'm asking. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'd actually like to extend, I didn't know the portables were actually starting to be moved. I know we talked about them being moved, but we were never given a date. As you know, I live in that neighborhood, so I had people coming and asking me where the portables were going and why they were being trailered. And I was unaware that was actually happening at the time. I would like to have some sort of communication that I can share with my neighbors as to what the plan is and why people are parking at Forest Lake over the summer and what that looks like, because that is encapsulated in an actual neighborhood. And so there needs to be some communication there with the folks that live around me regarding that.
I can work with Ken to do that.
Other questions? Good questions.
So, just to get back to personnel, people apply online, right?
Yes, ma'am. And they have stations that they can come into the district office if they don't have access. Now, the people that will be in the portable are mainly our benefits folks and Tracy Batchelder with classified, but most of that is done online. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but is there a place online that we could add where the new office will be, personnel will be housed?
I'm sure we can get that on.
For instance, people are always calling me asking about applying, and I'll tell them to apply online, and then say, well, then is there not a on-site place I can go? And then I direct them to the district office.
And that still will be. If they come in the front door of the district office, we have a kiosk right there in the front. And our receptionists and folks at the front work with them on applying or doing whatever they need. If they can't do it, then they call one of our folks to the front who helps facilitate that.
But I thought your folks was going to be over at Windsor.
Again, that's the benefits portion. That's going to be benefits.
Oh, only personnel benefits.
Benefits, sub-finder, and a few of the classified people who work with classified hiring.
Okay, why don't you guys do this for the benefit of the board? Because I'm not going to remember where everybody is spread it out to. Would you be kind enough, whoever wants to be responsible, Katie, I would ask you to direct whoever to bring the board up to date, so as a board we will know where the staff is being located.
Yes,
I think that's very important as a board member, that we should know, because if someone calls me and I'm not intelligent enough to give them that information, it seems like I'm not doing my job as an elected official. So I would like to be made aware of the locations where everybody is going to be in the district.
We'll be glad to get that to you. Yes.
Thank you. And at the same time, if need be, your director of personnel, I would leave it up to your judgment, but I think that you should also let the public know on, say you get a dynamite math instructor comes through and we miss that person because that person didn't know exactly where to go. Hypothetical. But you know, I think way outside the box, and 9 times out of 10 it happens. So let's be proactive rather than reactive on what we're doing with these moves. I would appreciate it anyway. I'd like to anticipate before it happens.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Carter. New business action requested, 12.1, authorization for the superintendent to apply for all available state, federal, foundation, and other special funds for FY 13 and 14. Your motion.
Mr. Chair, I recommend to authorize superintendent to apply for available state, federal, foundation, and other special funded programs for the fiscal year 7/1/13 through 6/30/14.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
Who got under the gun? Ms. Johnson. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Motion passes. Next agenda items for our next meeting, but we're only going to have one meeting in June. So, as far as we know, we're going to try as a board. So, what did we move that to, Dr. Brashew?
Yes, sir. That would be June 25th at Killian Elementary. And we have items of student learning report, Common Core Part 3 report, and also, per our meeting this evening in the discussion, we will be bringing back policy GCC and GDC, staff personal leaves and absences.
Any other items right now?
Well, the only thing, and it wouldn't be on the agenda, but I guess I can ask it now, Mr. Chair. I had sent a request for Karen Kubehaver to present at the National. And the last day to do that would be June 6th. Did you guys get my email on that? Did you get my email?
I don't recall an email on that, but we can get that done.
I sent it to you and I copied the board members.
I got it. Copy of the, I didn't see who else.
Yeah, I copied it because I wanted, where they sent out for people to present doing the national in New Orleans. I think that they are doing such an outstanding job over at the Intervention Center. I think that's something that we can share with other districts. And I don't recall our district presenting it in a while since our band presented. So I think, you know, we need to stay nationally known, and I think it's an outstanding program. I have my 15-year-old in there, and she's even got him to do the leadership program this summer with her. So just alone to get Zante to do that, that's a dynamite job she's doing. So I would just like to share that. But I know the time is running short. We need to get it in by June, I believe it's June 5th. And I also attached to that memo the webcast that she had done with Clemson in conjunction with Clemson. So I think it's something that would really, you know, get us recognized as a school district.
Very good. We'll be glad to get that done. I'll ask that Ken Blackstone will work with Dr. Cooper Haver right away.
Okay, I would appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. How about, Chip, what about climate?
I'd be happy to put, if you put that on the agenda next time, Mr. Chairman, I'd be glad to give
I'd love
Yes, sir. Be happy to do that.
Climate study, if Chip's
Yeah,
going
climate
to
study.
report on that.
Yes, sir.
Calendar, you know, give them a heads up so they don't make vacation plans. Let's go back on 29.
Correct. That's going to be the first one. There's a, some of the board members want to discuss the calendar next time, so Dr. Brashear will put that on the agenda too.
The calendar.
Yeah, they were discussing want to discuss the 4-day work week calendar. So we want you to give us a report on what's going on, why you set the boundaries for that, what were your reasonings, and
Certainly.
what the positives
Yes, sir.
are coming out of that. Okay.
Mainly.
All right. Any others?
Start the school day.
That's what we're discussing. That's what we're discussing. Okay. Anything else for agenda items? If nothing, it's time for our second public participation. Anyone want to address the board at this time? Don, did you raise your hand? Yeah, I think I scratched my nose one time when I made a bid on something. So I almost said sold. Okay. Okay. Nobody else. Okay. Thank you so much. Board and superintendent comments. I'm going to start from Ms. Brill and go down that way.
I wanted to congratulate those who received special recognitions tonight. It certainly is impressive. I mean, first place in anything, it speaks very highly of our children and what they're doing. And so I'm truly impressed. Also, I thought the ACE students were terrific. I see many future political candidates there. I mean, absolutely. They're engaged and they're working hard and asking good questions and, you know, learning how to speak in public is very important. So they're great life skills. And I know Dawn Smith, they're doing a terrific job. Also appreciate the Common Core presentation. Excellent. I feel like I'm back in college. Education courses, but you all are doing a great job, and I appreciate that. Thank you for the meeting, Mr. Chairman.
Just like to say have a safe summer and thank you for a great school year. We do appreciate all that you do. Thank you.
I'd like to also thank the staff for a very thorough presentation on the Common Core. You guys really got a lot of information in there, and I really like the, I don't know if you do this every summer or not, but this training guide is phenomenal for teachers and staff to see what's available throughout the summer. I can tell that took a lot of work, not only to put that together, but all the folks who were presenting and working on that. Matt, I don't know how you do everything that you do. You've been awarded for what you do, but thank you for just a dedication well above and beyond, and taking care of us as a district. It is that time of year where graduation's upon us, and so I like to thank everybody for the hard work, the administrators that we met with earlier and broke bread with. Thank you for everything. There's a lot of details that you just take care of every day that none of us know about. We don't thank you enough. I know I'm included in that group that doesn't thank you enough for all of that work and the effort that goes into it. And so thank you everybody for that, and look forward to graduation. So thank you, Mr. Chair. Great meeting. Thank you for what you do for us. So.
Ms. Anderson?
Thank you. I share the same kind of comments. Kudos for what the other board members have stated. Also, with Margaret Walden, I hope that we have some kind of agreement that she's going to come back and get somebody trained in her position, because Margaret is such an outstanding person in what she's done for the district throughout the years. So I just hope we can find someone like Mary that we can replace her with, and not just let somebody have to walk in and struggle and find their way through, because she does an awesome job in the district. I want us to keep the spring flower in is it Thompson, the other young man that was in the accident?
Spring flower.
West Thompson. Keep those families in our prayers, because they're going to constantly, particularly the son. I don't think he could have any other sentence than what has already happened to him. So I just, hope that everyone will keep them in your prayers, and I hope that will be something that, there's always some kind of good that comes out of everything. And hopefully God let that happen to save some other children's lives during their graduations. It's just it got next to me as if it was my own child. And to see the car mangled up, we just have to keep praying and teaching our children that, if you're going to drive, if you're going to drink, get a designated driver, or just call somebody, a cab, and we'll pay for it when they get to the door. But it's so important that we talk as parents to our children. And I'm not just saying this to you guys, but I'm saying it so those people who watch us on TV can get the message. The more we spread the message, hopefully the more the message will get across, because that was just simply devastating. My grandson went to law school with all three of them. He went to Spring Valley with them before going to Westwood, and it just destroyed his entire weekend. So I hope I know there's some good that will come from it, but let's just stay in prayer for that family, because they're going to need prayer more than ever. To lose one child and another child facing time is going to be difficult. So with that said, I'm getting emotional again. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Richland 2 family, from the beginning of the year to the end of the school year, which is about to end now, has suffered a significant number of losses this year, starting with our first loss last year and one as recently as last weekend. And so I certainly grieve for all of the families who've lost a child throughout the entire year, and the latest family being the Stringfellow. From the young man who lost his life at Kelly Mill to all of the others in between, we certainly grieve for all of the families of Richland 2. And that's one of the trademarks of our district, that we are a family. And that's what's been noted throughout our history and our success, and that is that we rally around each and every individual tragedy as a family, collective family. So I want to share with the entire Richland 2 family and all of those who are part of the the school system in the schools that are in our district, elementary, middle, and high, and that this board in particular feels a tremendous amount of personal loss in each and every individual situation. I want to thank you very much, Ms. Millette, for an outstanding presentation, Ms. Gregory and others. Thank you, Ms. Wheeler, for coming up and making it clear as it relates to Common Core and the role that IB plays in that. I think it's very important. We're trying to bring IB online, and we're trying to set ourselves apart as a district competing on an international level. And one of the ways you do that is by the strength of an IB program in particular, and to show that it is directly linked to a Common Core curriculum that's coming online for the average student, as well as those students who are going to go beyond the ordinary to the extraordinary levels of performance, shows once again that Richland 2 is making this move to move back into the forefront and rise again to the level of academic excellence that it has experienced for so many years. And so I'm excited to see that there's been a tremendous amount of work put into the efforts for the implementation of Common Core. Looking forward to those that will participate during the summer. Excellent training manual that was put together. And I certainly hope that everyone will take advantage of the opportunity so that the number of teachers who felt that they were prepared and felt that they received support from their district and their schools will increase exponentially as they come back into schools in September ready to teach at a much higher level and a deeper level. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Dr. Rashid?
Yes, I did want to make comments regarding some of the outstanding work of our students, not just in the classroom, but beyond. Spring Valley High School track and field team took the state 4A championship, which was a great bit of excitement and certainly a wonderful accomplishment. Also, Forest Lake Elementary Technology Magnet is being recognized as National ACE. Now, not to be confused with ACE program we heard about earlier, but the Aerospace Connections in Education School of the Year, and teacher Denise Duke in that school has been named the National ACE Coordinator of the Year. And so we're excited that we'll hear more about that, and there will be a story in the National ACE Volunteer Magazine. Just today, visiting Forest Lake Elementary as well as Muller Road Middle was a photographer from USA Today magazine. They're gathering information that will be placed in a guide to kids' health. Again, it's a national magazine that publishes once a year, and it will come out in the fall, and it will be focusing features on both of those schools dealing with meeting the 21st century classroom. So we're very excited to have that national presence that you were mentioning earlier, Ms. Anderson. We're really delighted about that. Also, many of our individuals that are retiring this year were able to attend a mini celebration, if you will, that we hosted last week. And we have been very blessed with outstanding faculty, staff, administration in this district that have given great years of dedicated service to the boys and girls of Richland School District 2 and the community at large. And we wish them the very, very best as they move on to that next phase in their lives. And as was stated just a few moments ago, this is our last school board meeting before school lets out, and we do want to thank everyone for their hard work and stellar performance as we were able to accomplish great things this year, and we will continue the work, as we mentioned, with professional learning throughout the summer and come back for a great year next year. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to keep my comments short. Have been overwhelmed this year by the presentations of our students. I mean, I'm not talking about what we would label the high flyers. I'm talking about our average students and what the kind of work they're doing in the school and how they present it to us at every level that we have. I've seen it work. I've never seen it before. I've seen, the ACE program's one of them, just like we had, throughout the year. And also the teachers. I've been really impressed with their energy this year and how they are excited about what they're doing. I've seen it here. I've seen it in schools. Go visit schools. Go in the classroom. See what's going on. Who am I talking to? I'm talking to all you ministers. I'm talking to all you people in the district. I don't know, but this is what I've seen this year. And so at the end of the year, I want to reflect on what my impressions were. Again, these are things I have not previously seen. There's some, we got a lot of work to do. We're not where we want to be. But let's make sure we go in the right direction. Okay, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, let's go ahead and vote. James and Sampson. Thank you. Means adjourned.